Welcome back to Culture Voice Reviews. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being with us again as we try to navigate these YouTube streets and try to get to our channel goal of 4,000 subscribers. If you enjoy what we're doing here, please consider subscribing. Please consider becoming part of the family. And hey, help us get to our goal. So, without any further ado, today we're checking out a video by Top 10 Wrestling. We're checking out the downfall of AEW in 2023. Before we go into it, uh, just to cover some bases, I haven't watched AEW since Punk left the first time um, after Brawl Out. I have no idea what the channel has been, what it has been doing, what AEW has been doing. Haven't been following them that much. So yeah, we're just gonna check out this and see what Top 10 Wrestling says about their downfall in the year 2023. So let's get into it.
So AEW has been making some very questionable decisions recently, most notably for the fact that they signed Ric Flair to a multi-year deal. That's right.
Yeah, how can you sign Ric Flair to a multi-year deal? Like he's almost 80. Like, right? What values Ric Flair is gonna give to you at this time and point?
2,000-year-old prehistoric wrestler Ric Flair has been signed to a multi-year TV contract in the great year of 2023. Please, for the love of God, just don't let him wrestle.
He's gonna die in the ring if he does.
Personally, is starting to lose its identity, and it's starting to no longer feel like the alternative. What's up, guys? It's Tom of Thompson Wrestling here, and today we're talking about AEW and discussing whether or not that AEW has fell off. And I have been watching AEW from the start, since the very first show, Double or Nothing 2019. And I just remember how exciting that show was and how much hype there was around it. The show was brilliant start to finish, and there really was something in the air in AEW for the first year or so. I'd argue that the run of shows AEW put on from the very first AEW Dynamite in October 2019 up until Revolution in February 2020 is some of the best wrestling TV of all time and one of the greatest wrestling runs on TV. Argue with your mother. But that feeling AEW used to have just isn't there anymore. And why is that? AEW was always going to change. It was always going to evolve over time, and the product was going to change a bit. But it could be argued that right now it's devolving and going backwards. And I think the best example of AEW going backwards is with the signing of Ric Flair, which of course happened last week on a show that also saw Paul White be revealed as the partners to Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Chris Jericho in their match against the Callis family. Both of these two things are just things that would never happen in early AEW. And if you compare an episode of AEW Dynamite now to an early AEW Dynamite episode, you will see a lot of key differences. More comedy segments, less homegrown stars on the show, and more ex-WWE talent on the shows. And listen, signing and...
It sounds more and more like TNA. Um, yeah, it is truly devolving if all that is happening. You'll think Dixie Carter's in charge, but anyways.
Using talent that used to work for the WWE is not an issue for AEW. They're allowed to do it. But when you assign them just to make zero changes to their characters and do nothing different with them booking wise to where they used to be, then we're not seeing anything new. We're not seeing the alternative wrestling product that we wanted to see. And a perfect example of the opposite of this is Toni Storm. AEW have given her a whole new lease of life with her brand new character, and as a result, she's one of the most compelling, interesting, and I feel must-watch people in wrestling right now. But then on the opposite spectrum, you have wrestlers like Saraya, who, as much as I do actually like her, to me just feels like she's still Paige.
She's stealing money from AEW.
There is definitely something that has caused a big shift in the talent that we see on TV.
Injuries. Oh wow, these people get injured. Yeesh. They get injured so much. For example, Daniel Bryan. How many times has he been out on injuries since he got to AEW in 2021? How many times has he been injured in that space of time?
And that, of course, is injuries. AEW's high work rate style means that wrestlers are more susceptible to injury, and in the year of 2023, AEW has had their fair share of injuries, and what's made it worse is that it's many of AEW's top stars who have been injured and left out of action. It's not just anyone, it's some of the biggest names in the company. You've got Adam Cole's recent injury. Moxley had to lose the international title due to injury, and Bryan Danielson has been injured twice this year. Something you don't want when he is now the face of one of AEW's TV shows, that being Collision, a show that really isn't doing well in ratings and attendance right now, and a show that could really use Bryan Danielson on it. And not to mention, we also had Jamie Hayter getting injured and having to lose her AEW Women's title in the middle of a very good reign and at a very unfortunate time as All In Wembley was coming up. But where these injuries really hurt AEW isn't so much for the fact that they're getting injured and they're losing
Oh,
talent
Moxley and his
quickly.
love of
It's for the
bleeding.
fact that they don't really have a plan B for when AEW wrestlers get injured and they're in major storylines. They have no idea what to do with those storylines and have no sort of backup plan, which they should do because they have more than enough roster depth to be able to do that. And a great example of this is going back to Jamie Hayter. After Jamie Hayter lost the belt, what was AEW's plan B here, you ask? Well, they had Tony Storm squash Jamie for it, lose it to Shida weeks later, who then lost it to Soraya as All In, who, guess what, lost it about a month later back to Shida, and now it's seeming like Tony Storm is about to reclaim it from Shida, meaning we've just gone full circle and not much has really been achieved since Jamie Hayter lost the Women's World title, and as a result, the AEW Women's World title's credibility has been really hurt ever since Jamie Hayter lost it. It seems as though whenever a big name in a storyline gets injured in AEW and plans change, they hold off on doing anything major with them until the original plans can be done again, rather than making a new plan that is on the same level as the original one, which once again is so incredibly possible to do because of AEW's deep roster depth. So yes, injuries are a key factor that have led to AEW falling off a bit and AEW's product quality starting to drop, but it's AEW's poor booking around those issues and backup plans which is causing even more issues. But to me, overall, there was one key reason that I think AEW just feels completely different right now.
The perception.
Perception is everything in wrestling. How the fans view the product and invest themselves is again everything. AEW, when it first started, was the alternative. They packed houses based on that, and watching AEW felt completely different to watching Vince McMahon's WWE at the time. Whereas now, WWE has been taken over by Triple H and has a completely different product, feel, and fan perception. They are now the hot product, whereas AEW is the show signing Ric Flair in 2023 with dwindling attendances. You compare the two, and it's night and day at the moment. The perception of WWE right now is one that's in a lot better place than AEW right now. And that's an issue for AEW. A lot of AEW fans currently say that right now AEW is too much like the WWE. And to be honest, I can sort of see it. We now have 3 TV shows per week, monthly pay-per-views, and the cards are littered with ex-WWE talent. This is nothing like how AEW used to be. And when AEW are acting very similar to the WWE in terms of product, then why even watch AEW? Just watch WWE because A, they are WWE, and B, they're doing it better right now than AEW are. I still think that when watching AEW, you can tell a clear difference between it and the WWE, but it is straying further away, and I know I've said this so many times, but it really is starting to feel less like the alternative. But the thing with AEW is that man, the AEW looks card tonight, even in a not so good period for the company right now. I'm still excited over this card. You've got 2 homegrown stars in MJF and Daniel Garcia fighting over the world title, a horse match between Samoa Joe and Keith Lee, Penta versus Swerve, a Tony Storm segment, and more. This is a July 2021 level AEW card. A very good card, a level of card they have more than enough facilities to do every week. It really is this easy to get people interested to watch the shows. In 2020 and 2021, we were getting cards of this caliber every single Dynamite, and that was with a much thinner roster. So, what's the excuse for why we aren't getting cards like this every single week? It is possible. But, TK, whatever you do, though, please, please, and I mean please, just don't put Ric Flair on any of these cards.
Don't put him in the ring. Okay, so that's um, top 10 wrestling's video over. Just tell me what you think about it. Tell me how you feel about the supposed downfall of AEW. But let me just say something. AEW has been a brilliant product since it came out. Some of us stopped watching it because of the entire situation with CM Punk and the Elite in 2022. But it's still a needed product, and it's still good to a degree. I think a major thing that needs to change is everything at the top. Tony can't stop spreading himself so thin. Just think about it. It's AEW, Ring of Honor, um, the American football team, and Fulham that he needs to put his attention on, plus whatever other businesses that um, the Khan Empire is currently dealing with or have their fingers in. So he's spreading himself extremely thin. So we should rather take maybe someone like a Brian Danielson and have him be in control of like the creative of AEW once his full time career winds down. But yeah, tell me, do you think that AEW's woes, its downs can be turned around and go beyond the upswing once again and be the product that it once was in 2020, 2019, and 2021? Just tell me in the comments what you think. And hey, thanks for tuning in to this video. We'll see you guys next time.